It seems like every day we see a new story about age-inappropriate material in school classrooms or libraries. Local libraries have pedophilic books like Lawn Boy on the children's bookshelves. The more these stories come to light, the more parents have begun to call this behavior for what it is: grooming. But many on the left object, claiming that applying the term grooming to what they see as sex education is simply fear-mongering. But which is it? Dr. Jennifer Bauwens joins me now to discuss the topic. Jennifer, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Good to be with you again.
Well, you have experience working with children, working with trauma victims. This is an area that you have not only practiced in, but studied academically. How do you encourage people to see, first, define the term grooming for me from your perspective. What is that? And does the situation that we're seeing now apply?
It absolutely applies. Grooming has historically been used for more interpersonal relationships. So the way that it's being used now is a little bit different, but it doesn't mean that it nullifies the use of it. Certainly, it's been applied to these intimate relationships where there's an adult trying to garner the trust of a child, whether that be through sharing their own secrets with that child, giving them gifts, so forth, making them feel special, all with an end to sexualize them. And what we're seeing now, and again, this has been applied to the individual relational aspect of life, but we're seeing at a real macro level this type of behavior. And no, of course, we're not having sex in the classroom, hopefully not yet, but we are seeing the same kind of principle applied at the macro level where kids are being primed for sexual encounters.
Jennifer, and talk to us about how that happens. When you say kids are being primed for sexual encounters, how does the content that we are seeing in classrooms and sex ed curriculum that parents are becoming outraged by, how does that prepare children for sexual encounters?
Well, when you have 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds who are taught graphic cartoon-like pictures, what different sexual encounters look like, what they feel like, there's really no defense for introducing that kind of material to a child. They're not developmentally prepared for that kind of material or to process that material. And I know, just anecdotally, I have friends who have small children, and they're already hearing the effects of how these materials have impacted their kids through other children. Children as young as 5 and 6 years old talking about whether or not they're a boy or a girl and not knowing that. And that's a direct result of our culture injecting this kind of indoctrination, AKA grooming, into our children, into our school systems.
Now, Jennifer, one of the responses we hear to that kind of an argument is that the teachers, the people in the classroom, they need the freedom to live authentically. And what they hear when you say, "Don't groom my children," is you're supposed to not live your truth. You're supposed to deny who you really are and not let children see who you actually are. What's your response to that?
I think it's a rather narcissistic response because it makes the issue about the adult, and adults are supposed to be the protectors of children. And we need to do a better job of protecting the minds and the hearts of our kids. This isn't about you living your life. You can do that without exposing children to graphic sexual material. You can still be your authentic self without sharing your sex life into the classroom or other social media outlets, whatever the venue may be, whether it's Disney or Netflix. It's inappropriate.
In the educational space, a lot of this is coming through sex education curriculum. What is the difference? Where is the line between actually educating children for the world that is real and that is out there and that eventually they have to be prepared for, and destroying a child's innocence?
Yeah, well, part of grooming is the secretive nature. And what we're seeing in a lot of our schools are closets for kids who want to identify as transgender so that their parents don't know that they're going to school and changing their clothes. This is a characteristic of grooming. You keep things secret. So we need to have our parents informed about what their kids are learning about. And once we take away the consent, that is a macro attribute of grooming.
And you make a really good point there, because we hear a lot of these examples now where it's not a conspiracy in the sense that it's not real. It's a conspiracy in the sense that it's a plan, that people are working together to hide really important information about what's going on in a child's life from the parents of those children. It's like that, shh, don't tell anybody. It's our little secret. And it's a stereotypical characteristic of grooming, but we are seeing that happening in schools with teachers, with counselors, and of course peers as well, all conspiring together to make sure mom and dad are not aware of what's going on in their kid's life. So you're right, it is a serious concern, and it seems that the term grooming does apply. Dr. Bauwens, thank you so much for your diligent work on this and for your time today.
Thanks, Joseph.